Hello, homeschool colleagues, friends, acquaintances. It's Friday and it's the weekend. We can actually think about things that we want to do with our lives, including how we're going to homeschool. So, I thought I'd come on here live and let you guys know what is going on in my world in case you haven't heard. So I got the Biblical Homeschooling Circle coming up next week. It's going to start on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific time. We are going to meet every week for 6 weeks, and we're going to talk about homeschooling, how to homeschool from a biblical perspective. So, this is not your everyday homeschool coaching program. This is specifically for homeschool parents who want to learn how to integrate biblical principles into their homeschool. So every week that we meet, we're going to be meeting together for 2 hours. So if you have 2 hours on a Wednesday for the next 6 weeks, and you really want to learn how to integrate biblical principles into your homeschool, then you might want to join my Biblical Homeschooling Circle. I will be teaching, training, coaching, mentoring, and doing all the things to help you feel confident about homeschooling biblically. And so I'm going to be teaching things like what the biblical foundations are for every subject, what the biblical foundations are for education in general. And then I'm going to be teaching you how to, sorry, I'm getting some notifications, how to, of course, teach biblically subjects like reading and math. And normally when you think about reading, you don't think about the Bible, other than, reading the Bible, of course. But how do you teach a child to read? How do you teach a child to do math from a biblical perspective? Well, there is a way to do that. And if you're interested, you might get some benefit from the Biblical Homeschooling Circle. So, what else can I share? We're going to be talking about your specific homeschool. So, if you are a homeschooler with a special needs child, or a advanced learner, or someone in between, or let's say, hey, you probably have a mixture of all of those in your homeschool, then I could help you train your kids, teach you how to train your kids to think biblically. And really the end goal is that they grow up to actually follow the Lord. And the way you do that, of course, there's no guarantees and every situation is different. But I really think that if we think principally, we can do that, because if your child from the very beginning, from 5 and 6 years old, is learning to, if your child is 5 or 6 years old and they're learning how to read from a reasoned, principled approach in reading, math, history, language, or science, all the subjects, and they do that from the time that they're 4, even 3 or 2. Really, my daughter, she's got a almost 2-year-old, and we're teaching her the letters of the sounds of the letters, and she's learning them in a principled way. So it's possible, but think about it this way. You start them young. You teach them how to think and reason with the Word of God, and in every subject for 12 or 18 years. You think you're going to have a child who's just going to robotically, go out and, follow the world? Probably not. Especially, and this is the most important part, especially if you are actually discipling them. You see, homeschooling is not just, let me tell you everything that you should and shouldn't do. Homeschooling is, these are ideas that God created. And then when they're old enough, you start teaching them, these are the ideas that are out in the world. What are you going to do? What does the Bible say you should do? And you really start to teach that thinking biblically is second nature. And when they grow up and they move out of the house, they're going to want to follow that because they've been doing it for so long. So, there's a lot of questions and nuances, of course, that I think people have when they hear me say things like that. But either way, I am using the Bible and I'm teaching children to think for themselves. I am not teaching them what to think. I am teaching them how to think. And that is the key. Okay? So let's say you're a homeschool mom and you have multiple children and you're ready to homeschool, you're ready to learn how to teach with biblical principles, then you're my ideal customer. If you are a high schooler and you're a female, generally thinking about, marriage and children and family and homeschooling, and you want to homeschool, you might want to jump in on this course or this workshop and class, because now is the perfect time to prepare and to train before you get married and have kids. Because once you get married and have kids, you'll know exactly how to start, and you'll have the confidence that you can have with the training. I mean, think about it. That's how I was. I basically had my master's degree before I started teaching my kids. And, I didn't know everything about homeschooling, but I certainly had the confidence to know what methods to use. So that's what I'm teaching you. And you can learn that, when you're in high school. If you're a single college person and you want to homeschool, but you're thinking maybe go to college, well, you might want to test out this particular course because you could learn how to homeschool from a professional perspective, because that's the perspective that I bring, is the professional aspect of it all, since I am a certified teacher. I wasn't always a certified teacher, so I just got my certification like 5-6 years ago. But anyway, so you're going to get that perspective in my courses and in my workshops and in my coaching. You're going to get that professional perspective, like how to actually teach reading so that kids know how to read. How to actually teach math. Oh my gosh, just light me up right now. If you're not teaching math a certain way where the kids actually know how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide mentally without thinking, it becomes automatic. If they're not learning to do that by the time they're 8 years old, when they get up into the higher math, like fractions and long division, like who likes fractions? I do. Who likes long division? I'm telling you, my 4th grade teacher made me do long division on endlessly. I can't even tell you how many worksheets of long division I had. But that was so good for me because it helped prepare me for higher math. So some people say, oh, well, I'm not that good at math, as they're young adults or adults. Well, I honestly think it's because you didn't have a solid foundation when you were in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 3rd grade. And you really didn't master what you were supposed to master. So I am rambling, but if you master those things, you're going to set yourself up for, or set your children up for success in math long term. Now, they don't have to be mathematicians, but they will be confident in doing math and getting through those math courses. Okay. What else? So homeschool mom, high school student, a college student who's single, not married, but wants to get married and knows they want to homeschool. You can take this course. You would learn a lot. We are going to touch on so many things having to do with all the subjects. We're going to cover it all. The main thing we're going to do, the objective, is to create a year-long plan for how to integrate biblical principles into every single subject. So you're going to have a plan where you're like, okay, well, this week I'm going to teach, this topic and this topic and this topic, or this skill and this skill. And then you're going to be like, well, on this day, I'm going to integrate the biblical principles. I'm going to create this activity to help teach my kids how to think biblically and things like that. Okay, so I hope that's clear. That's really all I have for right now. If you have any questions, Feel free to comment, message me, email me. I'm sure my information is out there. And let me know if you want to join the Biblical Homeschooling Circle. I'm going to put you together with some other moms, and we're just going to hash it out. I'm not just going to teach, but I'm going to help you develop a plan that works for you, that is also biblical and uses professional teaching methods that are proven, not just trends or fads. So anyway, I hope you got something out of that, because I gotta go. I will see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.